Jason Swain, touchdown.
It's time for the Swain Event with your host, Jason Swain.
My man.
Real sports talk for the real sports fan.
All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him.
It's time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Give me 2 house and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. 865-255-03 is our telephone number. It is Tuesday, August 27th, 2 minutes past the top of the hour. I'm Jason Swain, live from the Low T Center studio. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. Ben, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We got a message a couple days ago about a new listener, new follower. Appreciate them. Asked about us going over the positions. And I said, well, we have here and there. Bounced around, talked about this football team for a couple of weeks, talked about where we concerned, where we feel confident. And what do you know? For today's show, we have the depth chart that was released yesterday. And there's many depth charts around the country that have also been released. It's that time of the year, man. It's time. Last week, we got college football season that started off. Florida State taking an L to Georgia Tech. That was the first upset of the season, even though a lot of people have been buying Georgia Tech because of what Brent Key has been able to do there at Georgia Tech and what he's been able to build. Haynes King, we are familiar with him. Tennessee was in on him. When Jim Chaney was offense coordinator here, really wanted him. He goes to Texas A&M. He gets hurt, doesn't perform well enough. He transfers to Georgia Tech. I think he got hurt again this past season. But he was great leading his team to victory. So we got college football that started. And now it's Tennessee's chances to prove to the world that they're one of the teams to beat this year, a team that's on their way to the college football season. So it's Tennessee's turn, man, to play a little football this weekend.
Yes, it will certainly be their turn next week when they play a more formidable opponent. But Josh Heupel did accurately summarize my feelings yesterday with his opening statement when he met with the media, that he was glad that talking season is over. Now it's time to go play some football. I am right there with him. Unfortunately, I again, kind of like what I said about NC State, we do have to wait a little bit longer before we really get into the midst of Tennessee's football season. Because you are playing an opponent that you were expected to beat pretty significantly this weekend. You are 38.5-point favorites, practically 40-point favorites. You opened up as 41.5-point favorites, and that line has moved down to 38.5. So my point is that I don't know that we're going to learn a lot about Tennessee. Certainly still excited to see different areas of the football team this weekend, but really excited for the following weekend, where I think we're going to learn a lot about this football team. But excited to have actual football to talk about next Tuesday and Thursday with you. I'm tired of talking about the in-helmet communication and the iPads on the sidelines. I mean, yesterday Josh Heupel fielded 3 or 4 questions that had been asked a million times during fall camp. And I'm ready to talk about actual football and ask actual questions about what we see on the field. So I'm excited. Also excited to watch the other football games around the country. There are some big ones. Clemson, Georgia, right off the bat at 12 Eastern. I do hate that game will be going on as Tennessee's game is going on, but I'll have it up on the iPad in the press box up there while I look down on you, sweat your rear end off this Saturday afternoon in the heat. I'll be in the air conditioned
I'm not
press
playing.
box watching multiple games, but I'm excited, and I know you are as well.
Yeah, I mean the depth chart, a lot of oars. It doesn't really matter because a lot of people are going to play. It won't look like this next week. The purpose of doing this, I still haven't figured out, but it just doesn't really matter. But tight end, you're going to see Ethan Davis. You're going to see Holden Stage. You're going to see Miles Kitzelman. Those guys. It's been really hard to identify who's first and who's third.
No, it's 1A, 1B, 1C, and Swain, with this depth chart, I do think maybe if you're looking for Willy Wonka's golden ticket, like, I know there's a lot of oars, but if you go down the depth chart and look position by position, how many positions do not have the guy that we think is going to start at that position listed first? I think there may be some Easter eggs in there. I mean, you look across the offensive line: Lance Hurd, first name listed; Andre Carrick, first name listed; Cooper Mays, Devontae Spraggins, John Campbell, first names listed; receiver Brew McCoy, Square White, Dante Thornton, first names listed. Nico,
Dante Thornton is not better than Chris Brazzell.
That one I will concede for sure. That one I don't know is very telling, but like, I think there's some hidden Easter eggs in there. It looks like the depth chart that we thought it was going to be, but it's just a whole lot of nothing. And I'm with you. I don't understand the purpose of putting one out if you don't have to. And if you're going to do it in this manner, why put one out if you don't have to? But on the other hand, I also don't blame Josh Heupel for doing it this way in the transfer portal era.
Yeah, well, I guess that means Ethan Davis is gonna get the first team reps too, since he's listed first on here.
That is truly the one of the few positions where I don't think that there's a clear cut starter. I think all those three guys are gonna play pretty evenly unless one just absolutely grabs the bull by the horns and runs with the job.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the oars. I laughed. I realized a lot of people are going to play. I mean, to think that the number one player in the country, according to ESPN.com, is going to be bracketed or with the true freshman that hasn't taken a snap yet, I think it's hilarious. James Pierce, you got Joshua Joseph, Caleb Herron, and Jordan Ross all listed as OR. I thought it was funny to me. So
Dylan Sampson listed as an OR. We don't. Khalifa Keith may be Tennessee starting running back this weekend.
He may be if everybody's hurt.
That is true for sure. Although Deshaun Bishop would start before Khalifa Keith. The funniest one to me.
No, I'm saying
like,
if everybody was hurt, he would start. If everybody was hurt at running back, he would start.
I know. I was talking about the opener, though. But aside from Dylan Sampson and James Pierce Jr., the funniest one to me was Matthew Solansky, even though he's a long snapper, being listed as a co-starter. I mean, the guy's been a long snapper for like 10 years straight now and has received a bunch of awards for his long snapping. He's a captain on the team, but listed as an OR.
Yeah, so we're going to see a lot of dudes playing, man. I mean, that's what we're going to see. That's what this depth chart tells me. I'm all for it. You look at Arion Carter. I got a chance to meet him and see him on Sunday. First edition of the Locker Room. Zakai Ziegler is going to be handling all the interviews with the players this year. It's going to be really cool. And so they did that. So I got a chance to meet Arion Carter and talk to him a little bit about Coach Inge. He loves some Coach Inge, which explains why Tennessee has been so successful in recruiting and being able to flip the former Alabama commitment at the linebacker position. Also, some defensive guys, man, they talking about Chris Brazzell because they see him torching them in practice. they can't wait to see him torch other teams and us be able to see and witness what they have been witnessing all fall camp. So that's going to be fun. Being able to see the rotation on the defensive line, see how many guys are we going to actually see. There's been talk about 10, 12, maybe 13, 14. But how many guys will we actually see versus UTC? It's an opportunity for whoever gets in to prove that they can be trusted the next week. We'll learn a lot from this team each week. We'll learn lessons as the competition improves. 2 years ago, we thought we knew this team from the Pittsburgh game, and they didn't really have an offensive performance like that versus Pittsburgh until they played, Georgia. I mean, they scored some points against South Carolina. It was a defense that was so atrocious against South Carolina, but Tennessee's offense wasn't off like they were against Pittsburgh the rest of the season, except for Georgia. So yeah, like you may learn some things here and there, but each week is certainly a lesson, and there'll be a lesson that's really easy. Saturday, it'll be like an open book test, man. I know y'all do that at Buckhorn. Open book test. It'll be really simple, really easy. Won't be timed. It won't be a time test. You can bring your book. You can bring your notes. And guess what? You can even work on it with a partner next to you. It's a group project. That's what Saturday is going to be like. And then next week, it'll be harder because NC State's a top 25 team. They're coached by a coach that's been there for a long time. So he's been able to bring in his recruits, develop his players. And do they have more talent than Tennessee? No, but they know what they're doing. They believe in what they're doing. They do have an experienced quarterback. So that'd be a harder test, but a test that Tennessee should pass. And for the football fans who want to see a good game, next weekend is probably going to be more attractive to you than this weekend. But the first game is always exciting because it's the first game. It just doesn't matter who you play.
Right. I kind of like I mentioned off the top, I'm all eyes ahead to NC State. That's when we're really going to learn about this football team. But this weekend will still certainly be very valuable, allowing some youngsters, some inexperienced players that you're going to rely on this season to receive in-game reps. Those are valuable, whether it is against Chattanooga, NC State, or Alabama. In-game reps are in-game reps, and it's different. It's different than practice. Playing in a sold-out Neyland Stadium is different than scrimmaging in an empty Neyland Stadium, whether that's against UTC or Alabama. So my eyes are looking at that NC State game. To me, this is a glorified preseason game to a certain extent. So I'm not really anticipating learning a lot about this football team. Unfortunately, it is a game where you have more to lose than you can win in regards to the public court of opinion. Mm-hmm. And really there can only be bad takeaways from this game because you are expected to handle your business in a successful manner this weekend. So I'm not anticipating having any glaring takeaways that, Nico goes for 18 for 20, 220 with 3 touchdowns. He's going to win the Heisman. You're not going to be able to take that away from this particular football game or things of that nature. The secondary performing well in this game does not mean that the secondary is going to perform well over the course of the season. The receivers having a great game doesn't mean that they're going to have a bounce-back season from last year like we have spent so much time talking about this offseason. So we may not learn a ton this weekend in a positive manner, but that's not to suggest that this weekend is not valuable, because it absolutely is, especially from a coaching perspective and allowing to get a lot of newcomers and players that you're going to rely on for the first time, allowing them to get their feet wet. That's really important as you do lead into an NC State game and a couple of weeks away from an Oklahoma game that I think is going to determine kind of the fate of the season to a certain extent.
Yeah, for sure. NC State Oklahoma game. You want to go 10-2? Those games, I think you have to get. You got to get that NC State Oklahoma game, and that's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a lot of excitement around the NC State game because there are a lot of volunteers that live in Charlotte. There'll be a big presence for Tennessee fans, and versus an ACC opponent, so you'll have that SEC ACC battle to prove which conference is better. So both teams will be representing the conference. So a lot of excitement for that game, but the Oklahoma game will be different. Every game will be different in its own way, especially when you play against really good talent. So we'll take our first break of the morning. We'll get to the Beatty Chevrolet text box. You can get to that by going to your Swain Event app, throw in a comment question. I'd love to get to those throughout the show. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I'm Jason Swain. Be right back.
You're listening to the Swain Event.
And you know this, man.
Here in Knoxville, we love it when a squirrel's in the checkerboards. But when there's a squirrel in our attic, that's all sides. When that happens, call Alpha Wildlife. They're Knoxville's veteran-owned and operated wildlife removal company. When unwanted critters put their feet up on your coffee table, call 865-224-6555. Let the Tennessee fans at Alpha Wildlife evict those unwanted tenants and set your home up with a winning defense to keep that wildlife where it belongs. That's Alpha Wildlife at 865-224-6555. They have locations in Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, and in parts of South Carolina. Check them out online at alphawildlife.com.
Beatty saves you money like a new 24 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab. Save with 5.9% APR financing or pre-owned vehicles starting at $19,995. All makes and models at Beatty Chevrolet.
Fellas, there's a lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework and go to a provider that you can trust. I recommend Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked. At Low T Center, they make it quick and easy. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and you'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have noticed weight gain, loss of muscle mass, you may have low T levels. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
What's up, Swain Event crew? Always happy to be with my friends in the morning. So, everybody has a next chapter in life, right? And sometimes that includes a move. Your next page may have a growing family, or maybe an empty nest, or possibly a move back home. When the time comes, I'll be here to help. Just give me a call. Jennifer Morris, Keller Williams Realty, 865-694-5904, and check out my website, nextmovesmokymountains.com. As always, go Vols!
Looking for a different way to enjoy the show?
Yes!
Then check out Swain Event TV on YouTube.
Swain Event fueled by Daddy and Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. Rocking his Memphis Grizzlies gear. I'm just old Jason Swain here in the Low T Center studio, having a good time. It's a good week to have a good week. It is game week for Tennessee. We got a chance to watch Florida State and Georgia Tech play in Dublin. I'm good on that, man. Let us play Neyland Stadium or play at somebody else's stadium. I don't need to be playing overseas. I'm good on that.
I'd like to do it once. I think that would be a really, really cool trip to make, especially for you. You certainly would 1,000% be able to go as the Vol Network's premium sideline reporter. Even states it here in the game notes. Here it says play-by-play Bob Kessling, analyst Pat Ryan and Brent Hubbs, and sideline reporter the great Jason Swain. I may have added the and great, but it still says Jason Swain in the game notes, which is pretty cool. And it'd be cool for you to help broadcast the game in Dublin, Ireland. I mean, who would have thunk that back
I'm
when
good
you
with
were
Knoxville.
growing up.
Yeah, I'm good with Knoxville.
You spread your wings, Swain. Come on now.
Don't have
Come
any.
on now. Spread. Don't be a boomer. Okay, like that would be an awesome trip to do once. I'm not saying let's do it every year, but if we can play 2 games in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, we can do one in Ireland.
Hey, Charlotte's 3.5, 4 hours away. I got my 2 brothers there. I mean, I'm good, man. I talked to my teammate Anthony Parker, who's on that Georgia Tech staff, in a support staff role, and I was like, man, how far was that flight? He was like, it was 8 hours, but I know those 8 hours was fun on the way back, having a good time after beating up Florida State. They didn't beat them. I don't think the score really told the picture. They whipped them at the line of scrimmage, and that's going to happen a lot this football season, where sometimes the score is really not an indicator of what happened in the game. Sometimes the stats don't tell a whole entire story. When you see the line of scrimmage move, which it should a lot in Tennessee's favor this year because of the experience and talent, the pro talent that's on this squad, like that was on display in that Georgia Tech Florida State game, man. That line of scrimmage was moving in the favor of Georgia Tech. So no, man, I'm good. I'm good with Knoxville, man. I'm good with just moseying around the corner, make a couple turns, hitting Neyland Stadium. I'm good, man. I'm not a big neutral site fan, but I understand the business side of why we doing them. The save yourself some money with the taxes. I get it. I totally understand it. I'm actually excited about being in Charlotte because I get a chance to see, my 2 brothers. I got two nephews. Yeah, I got 2 nephews now. So like I'm excited about that. But I'm good on Dublin, man. I'll let you do that.
You only live once, Wayne. Get out and see the world when you can do it for free, my friend. But yeah, Georgia Tech's offensive line beat up on that Florida State defensive line. And the thing that I was going to add when you're talking about the trenches is it was funny the day before seeing Pete Thamel go on and 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 on his social media page about how Florida State and its defensive line is the best in the country. He was so emphatic about it too, in multiple locations where you can find his work. And I am a Pete Thamel fan. I just thought it was funny that he was so adamant that Florida State's defensive front was the best in the country, and they just got absolutely bullied by Georgia Tech in the trenches there. And I'll be honest, like I never had anything for or against Florida State fans, but the way that they reacted to being left out of the playoffs last year and the way they acted all off season long and then booing Kirk Herbstreit as if Kirk Herbstreit made the decision to leave them out of the playoffs, I found a little joy and irony in them losing that first game in that manner after their off season of whining and complaining. And I guess you could say that Florida State went around trying to check their swing against Georgia Tech as well.
Man, Florida State's had a rough couple of months, dude. I mean, rough. You go undefeated in the ACC. Undefeated. Like, you had Jimbo Fisher. You win a national championship. You're on top of the world. And then it just crumbles. It just crumbles. You get rid of him. You bring in a new coach. And you're building back the program. You have to make another hire with Mike Norvell. And it's going to take some time. But listen, we've been there. We understand how it takes time. And then you finally have that undefeated season. Like, you are going to play for a national championship, and then your quarterback gets hurt, which is unlucky. Hate it for him. And then you're kicked out of the college football playoff because you're not the same team with a backup quarterback. You look terrible in your conference game. You're complaining. You got guys opting out. They don't want to play. And then you got to face Georgia, a team that is more pissed off than any team that got snubbed, and they just roll you up. They roll you up bad. And then baseball comes along, and you have just a awesome run. You're winning games. You got your old former player back that's coaching. Man, you're honoring a legend that season. You want to win one for him. You match up against Tennessee in the first round of the College World Series. And, man, you're looking good the first couple innings. I mean, you're landing on Tennessee. Had me nervous. And then you blow that game, you lose it. And then you win the next game, and you have a chance to play Tennessee again to prove that the game one was a fluke. And then you get beat again. You get beat again. And then Tennessee goes to win that championship. And then football season comes around, and then you lose to Georgia Tech in Dublin. And that's an 8-hour flight back to Tallahassee to think about it. It's stew over it. Man, Florida State's had a run. And don't even get me started on the whole Clemson, Florida State versus ACC and that battle that's going on. It's just been rough for Florida State. It's been rough.
Well, and the funny thing also is that everybody assumes that if the SEC were to take an ACC team, that it would be Florida State. I don't think that they would take Florida State. I think they would take North Carolina. I think the SEC would absolutely take North Carolina over Florida State. And then it boils down to, okay, well, if you bring in North Carolina, then who is the second team that you're bringing with North Carolina? And I don't know how you couldn't bring Duke if that were the case. I know Duke doesn't add too much to the football scene, but it would be a heck of a basketball brand to add to the SEC, and they could be a more competitive athletic department version of Vanderbilt, in which you already have. So I think that's also adding insult to injury that Florida State thinks all high and mighty of themselves. And I think in reality that if the SEC did poach an ACC school, it wouldn't be them. It would be North Carolina. I think North Carolina's a bit of a bigger brand, and there's more of a market there in the Triangle and in the Carolinas for Carolina than there is in Northern Florida for Florida State.
Man, let's get to the phones. 865-255-03. Good morning.
Good morning, family.
What's up, Turkey Man?
Hey, buddy. Hey, Ben. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Good to hear from you, Turkey Man.
Yeah. Good to talk to you guys. Don't get to talk much. I was listening to you guys talk about Florida State, and I think I heard Swain say this, but could have been wrong. But I think we broke them.
No. I said they were broke before we played them. They were already broken.
I don't know, but I think we had a hand in it. But also, Clemson, Dabo reaped benefits from us being terrible in football, recruiting-wise. I mean, you can go through and look at the players that was and wanted to come to Tennessee, but we were so bad that didn't. And I think those players helped Clemson become, because they weren't what they were till we got bad. And then there's a lot of great players that come out of Tennessee or would have gone to Tennessee that went there. So I think we're going to see the decline of Clemson, and I feel like us in the bowl game against them kind of set the tone of what's headed their direction, I believe. But I think what will be interesting as far as this coming Saturday, does Clemson not play Georgia this Saturday?
Yep.
In Athens.
That'd be really interesting, I think.
That's the game of the week.
I think so. But anyhow, I was going to ask a question about our kicker. Whom are we going to have kicking, and what's he going to look like?
All right, Ben, that's on you.
As we've seen that game over in Ireland, the kicking game stood out. And so it's important to know what we got in kicking. I'll get out.
All right, Turkey Man. Well, first, we didn't break Florida State. They were already broken.
We piled on.
Yeah, man. Like, it's baseball. At the end of the day.
Pipe down, Pipsqueak.
Listen, it's football.
You can talk when you win a national championship.
It don't matter. More people was pissed off. More Florida Staters are pissed off and hurt after Florida State was snubbed in college football playoff than the air quotes miss check swing call and Florida State baseball being eliminated. Like I asked Tony Vitello Sunday, we had him on the Nation, about what advice did he give Josh Heupel? I mean, he's the one who won that championship. Tony proceeds to talk about how Josh Heupel is the one who sets the tone with the athletic part because football. Football is football. Like Tony gets it. We all get it.
Did you tell him that his national championship doesn't matter, especially once the football team wins one?
I didn't say that.
I also misspoke. Clemson, Georgia, playing in Mercedes-Benz, not in Athens. I apologize for that.
Yeah, I didn't say that. Why would I say that? It does matter.
Because you just told me that it does not matter, which is my narrative and the one that I'm sticking to.
Already broken, and we did not break them because we beat them in baseball. Like
they were. Tennessee poured salt on the wound. Is what Tennessee did in that moment twice actually, because Tennessee not only beat them the first time and then eliminated them.
Yeah.
As well in Game 3 of the College World Series. Max Gilbert is going to be the kicker for Tennessee, Turkey Man. Max Gilbert, redshirt freshman, 6 foot, 200 pounds. He was listed as an or with Josh Turbyville, who was not listed as an or as the kickoff specialist. So Josh Turbyville, who kicked off last year, will be kicking off yet again this year. And Max Gilbert will be handling the kicking duties. So sounded like he had a pretty strong camp kicking. We'll see if that translates to the game there.
Hopefully, for Turkey Man's sake and our sake, kicking won't be a big deal in the first game. It's going to be important. It's like every position, every play. But, that Georgia Tech Florida State game came down to one possession. This game better not come down to one possession. And when you have close games like that, the importance of the kicking game magnifies by 10. Now, let's go ahead and kick these extra points. I would like to see about 9 of them, preferably. I like to see about 9 kickoffs. Jackson Ross, you know what, man? Just chill out, man. Just chill out on the sideline. Bring your PlayStation. Bring your phone. Watch a little Netflix. I heard the Connor Stallions documentary is out today. Or been out. So just watch that on the sideline. Don't worry about punting in this game. That's what type of game this should be. All right, 865-255-03. Let's take a look at Beta Chevrolet text box this morning. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. Hey, who's starting the quarterback for y'all?
The Steelers?
Y'all. Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Okay. Neil Mafia says, press the kicking game. Here is where the breaks are made. I've heard that a time or two. Who y'all think leads the team in receiving yards and touchdown at the tight end position? Oh, I think that's going to be Ethan Davis. Receiving yards.
What about touchdowns?
If I had to pick one, I would probably say Ethan Davis. I just think he's so athletic, man. He's going to have more opportunities.
I would say Ethan Davis as well, although I'll be honest, I'm not super confident in that answer, and not because of any concern about Ethan Davis. I just think that I think Holden Stays and Miles Kitselman are going to play just as much as him. I don't. I could. It would not at all surprise me if Holden Stays led the tight end position in receiving yards and touchdowns. Kitselman wouldn't necessarily surprise me either, although I do think he is more of the blocking tight end, the best all around tight end that Tennessee probably has. But I would say Ethan Davis as my answer, although I don't know that he's so far ahead of Holden Stays in that regard to where I don't feel super confident him being the answer.
Varstorm says SEC has more desire to get into Charlotte than Tallahassee, the Charlotte market. Yeah, man, I feel like we already up in there. I mean, there's already a studio in Charlotte, but I definitely understand what you're saying. And what Greg Sankey said about Florida State over the last couple of weeks, I don't think Florida State's going to be getting into the SEC anytime soon. I don't even think Greg Sankey likes Florida State. Chip Payne says FSU got the karma handed to them. They thought they were too good for the ACC and got beat up by Georgia Tech. Neil Mafia says, let's play LSU and Zaire. We can call it the Rumble in the Jungle. We can do that, Dylan Mafia. We can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Chip Payne says, I sure have seen a lot of Georgia Tech flags, tags and flags yesterday. Oh, they flying them there in the A-Town. They are flying them. They should. Guys, a good Georgia Tech is good for Tennessee. Nah, we like that. I want Georgia dominating the state. I mean, even though they already do, that's not going to change anytime soon. But Georgia Tech is good. I need them to push Georgia a little bit at the end of the season. I don't need it to be a scrimmage game like it has been the last couple of years. How many quarters would you like to see Nico play? I mean, selfishly, I would like to see him play 4. I mean, how many times last year did we want to see him play, but we didn't? I feel like we got cheated. Like, I love watching Nico play quarterback. I love watching Nico play football. So the answer to how many quarters would you like to see Nico play is 4. I want to see him play 4 in every game. But we don't need to play him 4 in this game. I'm thinking more like 3. 3 quarters.
I would hope he's out by halftime. Get in, get out.
That don't happen though. When's the last time we beat a team or we've seen a team beat a team so bad that the starting quarterback stopped playing at halftime? Like, I just haven't seen that. So to me, it's not realistic.
Yes, but this staff is also notorious for allowing starters to play longer than they should in these type of games. Yeah. There were games in the Hendon Hooker era seasons where Hendon should have stopped playing at halftime and still came out for a possession or two in the third quarter, which with Hendon, you could afford to do so more than you could with Nico, because behind Hendon, you had Joe. Behind Nico, you have Gaston Moore and Jake Merklinger. So if it's 35-3 at halftime and Nico is 12 for 14, 180 yards, 2 tutties and no turnovers, get him out of the game.
Who does that though? No one does that, man. Because you said he should have been out. According to what standard?
According to me, okay. My standard.
All right. I mean, I'm just like, if he was like,
what value do you have? What if the game is totally in control?
It's not at halftime.
Against UTC, if you were up 35-3, the game is totally under control.
I would want him to come out for another possession or two to put up 2 more scores, and then I would sit him down.
What value does that provide? To me, there's so much more to lose in that particular scenario than there is to gain.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm taking him out at the middle of the third quarter.
But even I'm saying, but why even play him at all in the third quarter if the game is completely in hand? You have so much more to lose than you have the game.
Because I don't think the game is in hand at 35-3 at halftime. I just think
UTC?
I don't want that to be the message that's in my football team, that the game is at hand at halftime, regardless of who you play. So I would want to come out in the first drive or two with my starters, go ahead and shut the door, and then put in my other players. Because you got to think about it. It's about the message you're sending to your team too. Like, I get it, because we have put so many players in a bubble wrap this fall camp. You know, Dylan Sampson and Brew McCoy, and I totally understand and get it, and we'll do the same thing. But it's football season, man. You got to play. You can't bubble wrap everybody all the time.
Are you playing Brew McCoy and Dylan Sampson in that first possession or two?
Yep.
Lance Hurd, John Campbell, Cooper Mays, Javonte Spraggins?
Yep. Half of football is a lot of football, man. That's a lot of football. Yeah.
Okay, well, if it's a lot of football, then why isn't that enough for them to get the work in and be done?
Need more work, man. Need more work. Because you're working towards NC State. Like, it's not necessarily about, you are fearful that UTC is going to come back. It's, we got to put in some more work together, because John Campbell when's the last time John Campbell played a football game? Huh? When's the last time you seen John Campbell participate 11-on-11? Or heard? Huh?
Been a minute.
Okay, so here's your opportunity to have Campbell, Hurd, your offensive line together. You can't do it in practice, 1 versus 1, because you're afraid someone getting hurt. You don't want to hurt your own, but at some point you have to work on yourself. And with the game in your favor comfortably, the first and second possession of the third quarter, it's a great time to do that. And then if you like what you see, then you pull them out. That's my approach, and that's what I've seen in my 30-plus years of watching college football. I just haven't seen the starters being pulled after halftime. When we've beaten on a team in the first half, that's not the message at halftime. The message is about making adjustments, coming out with the same fire, intensity, and focus and energy that you had in the opening game. You want to do that in the second part of the game. It's like a second opening, that first 5 minutes in the third quarter. So it's about creating a habit. All right, hey, the first 5 minutes in the game against UTC, we're not going to really care about. But the first 5 minutes against NC State, we're going to care about. It's hard to program the minds of your team to be wired that way. So you want to wire them that way for every game. First 5 minutes in the third quarter, doesn't matter who we play, we coming out, and we're going to get a stop, we're going to go down and score a touchdown. So that's why I would keep him in. But I agree, Nico gets hurt, oh, hell, super nervous. But I would leave him out there for the first 2 possessions of the third quarter, and then I would pull him out. So we can see Gaston Moore drop some bombs to Dante Thornton right there on the sideline like we saw in the scrimmage. All right, let's get to the phones. Good morning.
Swain, Ben, good morning.
What's up, Jay?
What's up, guys?
Good morning.
Hey, Danny White likes making money, and he likes generating revenue.
Who doesn't like making money?
Yeah, exactly. You see, we're sold out every game. I think maybe a few tickets left for the UTEP game last time I saw. There's, he said that there's 12,000 student tickets, and there's 20,000 on the wait. 20,000 want to get in.
There's 20,000 on the waiting list now. I thought it was between 10 and 15.
Well, there's 12,000 tickets, but there's a total of 20,000. So you have like 8,000 students that want to get in that can't. Is what he said. And there's 15,000 on the wait list for season tickets. Is there any scenario where and I know fans have been on Twitter and stuff saying expanded, but is there any scenario where you could actually see him try to add seats to Neyland?
I don't see that. Because, I mean, is this going to last? How long is this going to last?
Yeah.
I mean, you hope it's like this every year, right? Where, like, you're expected to go to the college football playoff, and if Tennessee is in this position again next year, then, yeah, you'll have the same, the issue with people being on the waiting list. But I don't see us adding seats. I don't see it. There's so much other work that has to be done to update Neyland Stadium. I mean, there's some parts of Neyland Stadium, man, that's that need some TLC. I'll just say that. So
yeah, you're right.
The seats. Let's go ahead and get that money to 5-star tackle. let's do that.
You feel the same way, Ben?
Yeah, I agree with Swain. I don't see them adding any seats because it is all sunshine and roses now. But in today's day and age of being able to watch everything so easily and so crystal clear at home, and challenges of attending a game, whether it be how expensive it is to travel and stay overnight and food and tickets and so on and so forth. And a lot of people don't like battling the crowds and the heat or the cold. So I think Tennessee has the perfect number right now. And if you expand too much in terms of seating, then it makes it even more difficult to put butts in the seats in an era where it is already difficult to put butts in seats. Tennessee doesn't feel that as much because Tennessee fans are so passionate and so great. But just in sports overall, the industry is fighting to put butts in seats because of technology and the ability to watch from home and how expensive everything is. So it's great right now. There's a lot of excitement right now, but if the excitement isn't what it is now, then I think Tennessee may have a hard time from time to time. Again, I recognize how great Tennessee fans are. They are not the norm, like I just mentioned a moment ago, but you could run the risk of just having a difficult time at times filling all of those seats.
Yeah, it's kind of the industry's going the opposite way. They're kind of shrinking. So yeah, it's kind of wild, but yeah. So that's going to be that's interesting. But yeah, guys. Swain, I guess probably 9 times out of 10, with a team like UTC, I would probably agree with Ben, but I think I would agree with you on the halftime stuff because just what you said, I think you just got to get more work for Nico and some of those guys that haven't played a lot. And, I think Nico you don't want to see a Brew McCoy situation in a pointless game, but I guess you just have to understand that, football it can just happen sometimes, and you just kind of have to, it's risk versus reward, but, they got to get ready. That's what this game, I think, is all about, is it's getting ready for North Carolina State.
Yeah. And like, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter is really the most important thing of the conversation, more so than having to get work. It's really about a mentality with your whole football team. Like, when you are about to say the game maxims and run through the tee, you want to come out and punch the opponent in the face, bring the intensity, bring the fight to them. In the first 5 minutes, you want to set the tone of the game. Well, that's the same message for the first 5 minutes of the second half. So you want to be consistent with that message. You don't want to say, well, all right, guys, we're playing UTC. Don't worry about the first 5 minutes this week. But next week, we're going to worry about it. You can't do that. It has to be a consistent message. So you play Nico and the starters in that first 5 minutes, and if you want to pull him after that, cool. But like, and this is why you never see a first team pulled at halftime. You never see it. That's why, because it would send missed messages.
What do you do with what do you think Heupel does with the play calling in this game? Does he just keep it very simple and basic, or do you want to try to show some stuff to make NC State prepare for it?
Probably a little bit of both. I mean, I don't think you have to be elaborate with your play call to beat UTC. I mean, our guys are better than yours, and if we just do what we do and we follow our game plan, then we're going to score and be successful. But you could put some things on film to make them prepare for, so that way you can hit them with something that they haven't seen and they're not prepared for. So it's a little bit of both, Jay.
Yeah. Well, before I get out of here, what do y'all think of Coach Prime, man? I mean, with this banning the reporter and all that kind of stuff, that reporter did seem to kind of take some cheap shots against Coach Prime, some personal shots from the comments that he made. But what do y'all think about that, banning a reporter and that kind of stuff?
When Prime first got there, and he made it seem like the media was supposed to be like part of his like Colorado media team, I was like, man, he's about to be in for a rude awakening. But that reporter to me was out of bounds. But there's no one here that is taking personal shots at the head coach. Like that's unnecessary. It is, I think, unprofessional. Do I think Deion is a guy that makes it about himself? Has he said some things that made me look sideways at him? Absolutely. But he also has done some really good things. And yesterday on Joshua Swain, we put him on Attaboy for setting up accounts with the local bank for players on his team with children.
Yeah.
So like he has done some great things. So I'm not on like extremely on one side where, man, Deion can do no wrong, man, and or Deion is terrible. He's terrible. Like I'm just not there. I see things that disturb me. I see some things that I really enjoy that Deion is doing. So if Tennessee had that problem where you took your most negative, critical media member in Knoxville, and I think we can all think of a person over recent years that's been the most critical of Tennessee athletics, that person didn't get personal, didn't name call, didn't call people out of their name. So yeah, I think that media member deserved what he got. He did.
Yeah, I thought that was. I thought it was a little out of bounds. Yeah, mean, it was kind of. Some of those comments were personal attacks.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what Coach Prime is going to do next year. Is he going to stay? Because the way he's built this, I mean, with the portal and stuff, they're going to struggle next year. I mean, they're when Shador and those guys are gone. I mean, they're going to struggle to get to a bowl game. But man, next year, that team is not going to be very good. So it's going to be interesting to see what he ends up doing. But guys, it's finally here, and I'm glad it's here. I'm glad football's here, and we'll see what happens, man. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, my friend. Talk to you later. Thank you for the phone call. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey guys, how you doing? It's Mike Connors.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, so speaking of the portal, I when I listen to a number of different shows and Sirius XM and elsewhere, but when I hear a lot of the prognosticators and talking heads talk about Ole Miss, it's almost a given that they're going to be this juggernaut. And sure, on paper, you'll look at who they brought in, and it's very impressive, no doubt. So to me, it's going to be fascinating to watch this season because either it works or it doesn't. I mean, if you can build a team through the portal the way they have, and it works, and I guess just getting to the playoffs would be deemed successful, even if they don't get beyond that. But then there are going to be a lot of teams trying to emulate that going forward, and it's going to be a big run on the portal. I think it'll start getting even crazier. But that's the question to me, and I never hear that really raised. Is will it work? I mean, I believe their entire offensive line are transfers. I think when you go through the ones, most of them are transfers, and even the twos. I mean, how does that work from a chemistry standpoint, from a culture standpoint? Maybe it will, but I don't hear many people in the media anyway, questioning that, or it just seems to be an assumption that they're going to be, this big juggernaut this year, and maybe they will be, but I'm just going to be fascinated to watch it play out. I think it would be interesting if they ended up in the playoffs and they faced Clemson, then you'd have the portal king versus the portal, whatever you want to call them. But anyway,
portal king.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. I just wanted to put that out there, but talk to you later. Love it.
Thank you. I think people are in wait and see mode to see if it's going to work out. Dion kind of flipped his roster around and he didn't really do much but create some excitement. They won a couple more games, but they still didn't get to a bowl game, and then they went back to the portal, and then they had a pretty good recruiting haul, so we'll see what they do. And then Ole Miss, with more resources, with better players, a better coach, and a better conference. You have Jackson Dart. You added some key players from other SEC programs. Yeah, they're supposed to make a run to the college football playoff. But the program that has the most pressure on them is Ohio State, because it's documented. They spent $20 million on this football team. $20 million. So it's not just about beat Michigan. It's about, because you can lose to Michigan and still get to the college football playoff, but the pressure is on Ryan Day. You got to beat Michigan, and then you got to go win championship. $20 million was invested. And Mike asked a question about, okay, if Ole Miss is successful, will we see more teams, do what they did? They will try, but there's only a few teams that can do what Ohio State did. Could we do what Ohio State did? Yeah, but I think we would put ourselves in some strain for the future, maybe, with all the construction we have in other areas on campus. But just because you can, don't mean you should. $20 million. So just getting to the college football playoff is not good enough for Ohio State. They got to go to the championship game. They got to win the whole deal. They got to win it. Thanks for the phone call, though, Mike. That's a really good question. I think the reason why you're not hearing people talk about it in the media is because people are waiting to see if it's going to work. They're waiting to see if it's going to work. Because Lane, every time people are like, all right, Lane's going to do this. He gets mollywopped by Alabama. Get your popcorn ready. Got beat down by Alabama. All right, what can they do against Georgia? It wasn't even a game. So we're kind of waiting and seeing what Lane's going to do. We know he's a good coach, but he hasn't gotten over the hump to win the big game, to get to the big game. And this will be opportunity because the playoffs have expanded for him. So we'll see. We'll see. Real D from the 423 says, I can't wait for the Tennessee versus Colorado National Championship game. Well, you can play that on PlayStation. That's the only place that's going to happen. Kyle Smyrna, wait, what Tennessee media member is Swain referencing? I need help. Hey, man, there's one media member that y'all complain about and have been complaining about for the last 2 decades. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I ain't saying he's wrong in some of his criticism. I don't read all the stuff. I don't see all the stuff. I just see y'all complaining about him. But he's never been disrespectful and calling coaches out of their name and calling them names. He's never done that I've seen. Are we expecting rain at game time? Ben, have you seen the weather report?
I have not. I heard somebody mention that there's like a 40% chance of rain on Saturday. My phone is currently saying 35% chance. But no, I have not checked the forecast other than what I've just said.
You can tell Ben don't care about the little people. He just told on himself. Y'all just caught that? This man Ben, and I asked him, has he checked the weather? He said no. Because you know why he don't care? Because to him it's gonna be the same. He's gonna be in the press box. He already told you earlier in the show. He's gonna be in the press box. He's gonna have the other games pulled up. He's gonna be in paradise. He's gonna have fast Wi-Fi, so no glitches, no buffering. He's gonna have free food, free drinks. He's gonna be super comfortable. Super comfortable. He don't care about y'all. He don't care about the little people.
Nope.
He don't care about the little people. So
not at all.
There might be a chance of thunderstorms. And that's different from rain, Ben, because that shuts things down. And that keeps you away from home a lot longer. That ain't normal. It's like we could deal with the Vanderbilt game in 22. It was raining the whole time, but that clock was ticking. Thunderstorm. I don't know. We trying to be out there 5 hours for UTC. I don't know about that, Ben. I don't know we're trying to be out there that long. I mean, I'm happy for Tennessee football that we back. I don't know about a weather delay for UTC, man.
The National Weather Service says that showers and thunderstorms are likely, mainly after 2 p.m., partly sunny and hot with a high near 90. Chance of precipitation is 60%.
Mm-hmm. Hey, man, I hope that this weather report doesn't change because, you know, they never do. And they're always accurate and spot on. I just hope that we don't get any thunderstorms Saturday. And if we do, it's after the game.
Well, it looks like it is coming after the game for the most part.
I hope so. Also in the Beatty Chevrolet text box, Rocky Top out. So there's a reason dumping money into the entertainment district. They're not expanding the stadium. They want the money flowing elsewhere. This is a chance to make history, do something that's never been done, and at the college level, and have people trying to chase us and be like us. And even with that, like, how many people have the river right next to the stadium? I mean, you can try to do it, but it ain't going to pop the same. It's not going to hit the same because you're not Tennessee. But I just never thought adding seats to the stadium was like a real conversation. I just thought it was something.
So, and Danny was joking about the third deck.
It never happened. Like, everybody's downsizing. That just doesn't sound realistic to me at all.
It's not realistic. The stadium is at a perfect capacity. I mean, maybe you could add 1,000, 2,000 seats here or there, but the fact that they're taking out seats to add this bar and that bar throughout the stadium tells you all you need to know about their mindset on adding seats.
You could argue that taking seats away might have been a mistake. Like, if you want to have that conversation, that's probably a better conversation than hey, you're going to add seats? You're not doing all that work, spending all that money to add them back. That don't make any sense. That's just silly.
And from the fans' perspective, it may have been a mistake, but I promise you that Danny White and his administration do not think that taking seats away was a mistake because the north side of the stadium turned into whatever and it's sponsored by Yeehaw now. Like it's
deck.
Bringing them in
the party deck.
Money. Yeah, the north deck, the party deck, sponsored by Yeehaw this year. That's bringing in a bunch of money, I'm sure. for what that is, and then the lower suite thing that they I'm not good with all the particular names that are new to the stadium. Forgive me. I'm not fancy enough to adventure into these parts during the games. But the lower party area that's under like the season ticket holders, that is sponsored. Like all these areas that they took out seats to add this or that is being sponsored by somebody, and they are making money off of it. So I promise you, the administration does not regret taking out seats for these things whatsoever, and I don't blame them either.
No, I don't either. I mean, I don't have any regrets about the seats being taken out. I'm just saying that's a better conversation to have than
for sure.
We're gonna put seats back in the stadium. What? Do we not know that things cost money? Do we have any idea? And that section you're talking about is what? VUTS?
Yeah, it's on the west side.
Yeah. Hey, that's a nice
It's
part.
nice under there.
Oh yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I ain't been under there since the first year it wasn't completely done, but it looks really nice now. For the scrimmage, I could see through the door and the window that it was in better shape, but I didn't go through it.
I was under there a couple weeks ago when they did the pilot announcement. I did not realize how big it was under there and how extravagant and nicely furnished it is under there as well.
That's what she said. Let's see here. What else is on the old box here? What's the biggest makeover of an NFL team that you have seen in free agency? Would it be anything compared to what Ole Miss and Ohio State have done at the college level? NFL team? I think it's a little harder to do that, NFL. Oh, man. Like the Cowboys lost a bunch of players from last year, didn't really add a bunch of players. I just think it's harder to do what Ole Miss and Ohio State did in the NFL.
The Texans have kind of done it offensively, adding Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon, and they added a tight end. Was it Dalton Schultz that they added at tight end?
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago because he came from the Cowboys because they didn't want to pay him. But think about it, that's like a couple people. I mean, that happens every year on every team. It seems like.
I mean, the Steelers quarterback room kind of did it. They traded Kenny Pickett to Philly. Mason Rudolph went to the Titans, which it was funny to see Titans people this weekend after Mason Rudolph looked good against the Saints in a preseason game, thinking, how bad do the Steelers want Mason Rudolph back? Let me tell you right now, we don't. We don't want him back at all. We have seen the Mason Rudolph experience. He had ample opportunities to take the job and run with it. I'd rather have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
That's right.
Over Mason Rudolph. But the Steelers quarterback room, Mitchell Trubisky went to Buffalo. It was completely overhauled with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields coming in, but that's just one position. In the NFL, you can't overhaul your team the way that you can in college. And I don't even think that Ole Miss really overhauled their team. They just made a bunch of additions and to the statements earlier about the hype. I do think that Ole Miss is going to be really, really good. They have a lot of dynamic players on their team, and their schedule is easy as can be. I mean, it's pretty remarkable that in a 16-team SEC, a schedule can be as easy as Ole Miss's schedule is. Same goes for Missouri as well. But they have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. So I do think the hype is warranted. What I'm curious to see, Swain, quickly about Ole Miss is, can Lane Kiffin get that culture and all of those egos and personalities to gel and come together as one and play for Ole Miss football rather than themselves in their future? Because they added some guys who have had questions surrounding their ability to be a good teammate and carry themselves in the right regard. You and I had conversations about Juice Well back when everybody was clamoring for him out of the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Walter Nolan. I mean, there's some guys on that team with a lot of ego, and I think if Ole Miss does not end up playing well or meeting expectations this season, I don't think it's going to be because of the X's and O's or the talent. I think it's going to be because of the locker room and the leadership not being what it needs to be because Lane wasn't able to get those guys to gel together.
Yeah, let me answer Mike's question, and then we'll move on because it was a really good question. What's the biggest makeover an NFL team that you have seen made free agency? Would it be anything compared to what Ole Miss and Ohio State have done? Now, I just went to go look at the Bears, what they did in the offseason. We had a lot of dudes. Ohio State, Ben, added 7 transfers. 7. If you want to look at, Ole Miss and kind of see what they did, I mean, those are, I think, the 2 programs that added the most players in terms of like impact players. Ole Miss added 25. They had 25, man. So I think Ohio State added more quality. Ole Miss added more quantity. All right.
There's some quality in some of those Ole Miss players, and
no, I'm saying more. What's called has more.
We'll see, I suppose. One other thing to remember, and this is stating the obvious. I mean, a football roster in college is literally twice the size of an NFL roster. NFL roster is going to be cut down to 53 today at 4:00. So NFL team has 53 players to work with, and college teams are essentially working with 100 guys. So that obviously allows for complete overhauls because like even the Bears have been completely overhauled, Swain. Maybe I shouldn't say completely overhauled, but they certainly added a lot of pieces. But Mike was asking about free agency, and 2 of the pieces that the Bears added offensively and Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams, I mean, those guys were through the draft. I mean, out of free agency, what they added, DeAndre Swift, and Keenan Allen they traded for, or was he a free agent signing? I can't remember how he was technically.
I think we traded for him.
Right. So I think that's correct. So really you added DeAndre Swift as your free agent addition. I mean, a lot of and I'm really high on the Bears. I'm excited to watch them play this season, and not because my boy Kari's on the team, but I've enjoyed watching them on Hard Knocks, and I think they're going to be really, really exciting. I'm a huge DJ Moore fan. Love Rome Odunze. I've come around on Caleb Williams as well, watching Hard Knocks. My impression of him has grown, and they have some defensive players as well that are fun to watch, especially now that they got Darrell Taylor. They got a lot of Vol flavor as well. Darnell Wright, Velus Jones, Jerome Carvin. I'd be surprised if Jerome made the team, but it's been kind of cool to see Jerome lurking in the background there on Hard Knocks. But even the Bears though doesn't fit the example of Ohio State and Ole Miss, because Ohio State and Ole Miss they acquired their offseason through free agency, whereas the Bears, I mean, credit to Ryan Poles, I mean, a lot of it's been the draft and trades more rather than just going and signing a bunch of guys. They certainly signed a couple, but the bulk of their roster was built through the draft and through trades.
All right, let me Nelson says that he already got cut by Jerome Carvin. That stinks.
4-1 out.
Nelson says the Ole Miss went to Sam's and Ohio State went to Publix. No, what you should have said is Ole Miss went to Sam's and Ohio State went to Costco. Man, I felt that, Nelson. Boy, you sure tell the difference, can't you? Man, let me be quiet if I offend somebody. 6'5", 255. 03. Man, I felt that one, boy. 865-255-03. Swain Event fueled by Dan Barbecue. Ben McKee, Go Falls 247. I'm Jason Swain, Low T Center Studio. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
What's up, Swain Event family? It's great to be on board. This is Taylor Hawkins with Modern Woodman Fraternal Financial, and I have one question for you. When was the last time you have slowed down and evaluated your financial situation? Just like the Vols, a great game plan leads to victory. Let us help you achieve your financial goals with a custom-made game plan. No matter what stage of life you're in, protecting your family and hard-earned money is important. So let one of our local and trusted financial professionals secure your future by visiting one of our 10 branch offices across Tennessee, or give us a call locally at 865-312-5638. And remember, go Vols.
Registered representative and investment advisor, representative offering securities and advisory services through NWA Financial Services, Inc., a wholly owned subsidiary of Modern Woodmen of America, member of FINCRA, SIPC.
Here in Knoxville, we love it when a squirrel's in the checkerboards. But when there's a squirrel in our attic, that's all sides. When that happens, call Alpha Wildlife. They're Knoxville's veteran-owned and operated wildlife removal company. When unwanted critters put their feet up on your coffee table, call 865-224-6555. Let the Tennessee fans at Alpha Wildlife evict those unwanted tenants and set your home up with a winning defense to keep that wildlife where it belongs. That's Alpha Wildlife at 865-224-6555. They have locations in Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, and in parts of South Carolina. Check them out online at alphawildlife.com.
When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go: Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Good morning, Swain Event fam. America's College Sports Town has everything you could want in a lifestyle. You want a cottage home in town or a downtown condo, or maybe you're looking for a home with a pool or a lake property. Well, whatever you want, the Knoxville area has it, and I'm ready to assist when it's time to find what you're looking for. So give me a call, Jennifer Morris, 865-694-5904, or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com, and check out my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Go Vols!
The conversation doesn't stop when the show is over. Follow the Swain Event on Twitter and like the show on Facebook.
Y'all feel the weather this morning? It don't feel like it's summer. It feels like fall. Great time for you homeowners. Take advantage of Hiller's specials. The kids are back to school, and you can leave the homework to Hiller. This month, enjoy back-to-school savings with offers like a $99 drain cleaning special. Also, $500 off select high-efficiency HVAC systems there at Hiller. The website, happyhiller.com, is where you can find all of the details. $500 off new tankless water heaters. $1,000 off whole home generators. Happy you'll be, or the service is on them. The service is free. Happy you'll be, or the service is free. Back to school savings with Hiller. Got Thursday show, and then it is game time. It is truly football time in Tennessee. K-Dog says the SEC football itch has turned into a cold sweat. Let's go, Vols. How many days are we to kickoff? What number are we? We at 4?
We are Jonathan Wade days away from kickoff.
I was thinking more like Dante Stallworth, Cedric Tillman. I didn't even think about Jay Wade. I'm just kidding. Man, Wade loves his team, man. He spent the whole week here a couple weeks ago. And my daughter let him drive her car for the week. That's love right there, man. That's love. And he is my oldest daughter's godfather, so that worked out. And he spent a lot of time with the team, the secondary. If you go to his Twitter account, you can see the picture he took with the secondary. Man, there's some dudes he really loves on this team. He loves the young corners, the young players. He likes their mentality. He sees a lot of himself in some of those guys. Just kind of seeing him come back for the first time and just be, so welcome back and allowed to be a part of that DB room, man. It really warmed my heart. And, man, kudos to Willie Martinez, Tim Banks for allowing that to happen. That's the way it's supposed to be. When you have guys that are successful here, that love this place, man, you want them around your players. You really do. And if you're a coach and you have a guy that's successful, that loves this place, and you don't want them around your players, that says a lot about you as a coach. So shout out to Willie Martinez and Tim Banks, Heupel, and the crew for, welcoming Jonathan Wade in. And, man, dude played in the NFL. Dude was a borderline Olympian track star. He was doing both. And he's one of the best corners in the country when he came out. So you can learn, too, from that guy. All right, K-Dog wants a score prediction for Saturday. But first, share with us what's on your mind, Ben.
Well, when Jay Wade is ready to move to Knoxville full-time, he needs to reach out to Jennifer Morris of Keller Williams Realty, who's texted me this morning and said that everybody needs to forget about Florida State and all these jabronis trying to be irrelevant. Come kick it in the best college town in America with the orange and white. When you're ready to move to K-Town, give her a call. So please, for all of your real estate needs, reach out to Jennifer Morris of Keller Williams Realty. I personally guarantee you will not regret it. And if my guarantee is not good enough, I completely understand. There's other Swain Event members of the Swain Event family that would personally guarantee you can trust Jennifer Morris with all of your real estate needs as well. So take it. You don't even have to take it from me. You can take it from other members of the Swain Event family.
Yeah, I want to call somebody a jabroni. That's a new one. No, Meat Stick was a good one a couple years ago. Jabroni is a good one too.
Going back to our Dion conversation, I would call him a meat stick and a jabroni. I've been really turned off by Dion this offseason. I recognize that he is doing good things. I'm not saying that it is all bad whatsoever. It's just he is not. I've been turned off by him. It's just one thing after the next. It's no longer. Not now in hindsight, I don't know that it ever was just about football. There's just constant drama and different types of drama as well. And I'm not at all saying that the columnist, the reporter was right and is being wrong. Like he was out of line too. But even separate from that, there's just been one thing after the next from Dion, and it's really turned me off this offseason in a lot of ways. I'm not going to be rooting against him. I don't care that much, but certainly not pulling for him like I kind of was there at the beginning of last season when that first ride of the Dion train at Colorado was pretty fun when they upset TCU week 1. I'm not going to that extent anymore either because he has turned me off this offseason. So I would call Dion a jabroni because he's been acting like one and certainly acting like a meat stick of late, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Nila Mafia says Tim Tebow is a jabroni. You know Tim Tebow will be mentioned every show from Nila Mafia. Bulldog Brian says, what was the last team that bought a roster? How did that turn out for Jimbo? The last team who won a championship buying a roster was Michigan. The team before that who won a championship buying a roster was Georgia. like people been buying rosters for years. It's just now it's out in the open. It's more talked about. It's accepted. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I can't wait to see what we do with our bought roster this season. See how good that feels? Just say it. It's okay. It's all right. It is all good. So yeah. It's good to have Bulldog Brian on with us, man. That's when you know you're doing something right, I guess, when you have, fans from different schools tuning in to your show in the morning, man. That means a lot, Bulldog Brian. That's good stuff.
Maybe he's a spy for Kirby Smart.
He's not.
Maybe he's reporting back to Kirby.
Reporting back on what? Kirby can just watch the film, and every coach knows what every program was doing anyways. There's no secrets. Everybody knows each other. The eye in the sky don't lie. Recruits talk. Everybody knows what's going on. They all know. All right, what's your score prediction?
Sounds like a question for Thursday's show.
Okay, cool. I'll give you a couple more days to think about it. I know it's gonna be tough.
I mean, I don't know. Chattanooga's a top 10 team, and you think that Nico needs to be playing on the final possession of the fourth quarter. So taking that into consideration, that Nico is going to be playing all four quarters. I mean, probably like 77-6 or something along those lines with Nico playing every single possession. Pretty obtainable, I would think. On a serious note, I don't know, like I'm in that 49-52 range for Tennessee in terms of points scored, and I'm sure Chattanooga will score at least a touchdown, possibly at the end of the game in garbage time once Tennessee has finally gone to its reserves and backups. So I would say something along like 49-7, 52-10, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. I want to see 60 points. That's what I want to see. Anytime I think you're paying an opponent, I think you should get your money's worth. And the high 50s, 60s is my preference. I think offense should be scoring 2 touchdowns a quarter. So you give me 28 points at half. It should be a little bit more. Maybe a turnover creates a short field for you. So it should be 30-something to whatever at halftime. And then
now, to Jay's question earlier, I do think that they are going to be very vanilla. I think they are going to show as little as possible. I think they are going to run the most basic plays that they possibly can. So maybe that impacts how many points they end up scoring.
But you don't need to run elaborate plays to score a bunch of points.
No, that's true. I don't think that their foot is going to be on the pedal for all four quarters.
No. I mean, that's different. Your creativity in your play calling is different from your aggressiveness. Like you can be vanilla and still be aggressive and execute and put up 60 points. There's no reason to show a bunch of stuff. Like you're going to play a team that's going to run a different defense than what NC State's going to run. NC State's going to run a different defense than what Oklahoma is going to run because they have different personnel. So like, we do this every year where it's like, all right, man, first game, we're going to be vanilla. Everybody's going to be vanilla. Why would you show some stuff that a team later can prepare for? Like, yeah, you're going to be vanilla as you can be. Because you don't have to show everything to beat UTC. You don't have to be exotic. You can run your basic stuff, execute, and put up 60 points. You got receivers that run 4 3s and 4 4s. You got running backs who are running 4 4s. Like, You don't have a lot of dudes on defense that should be able to catch them once our guys get in the open field. We're bigger, we're stronger, we're faster. You should be able to say, hey, we're running the ball right here, this play, and still pick up yards and score. Like that's the game that this should be for Tennessee. And if it's not, then that means you wasn't concentrating the way you should be. It's really that simple. Tony Vitello got paid. He's highest coach in America. You reported on that. He deserves that. What else is going on? Quickly. Did you miss anything else outside of football?
No. There's maybe a basketball tidbit that will be dropped here.
Got a recruit in town.
Tennessee did have a recruit this past weekend, Dante Allen, a top 100 overall player from down in the Miami area. His dad, I'm blanking on his dad's first name, Malik Allen, is an assistant coach for the Miami Heat. Works under Eric Spoelstra and played at Villanova, played in the league. So Dante was in town. Tennessee's kind of gotten in late on Dante, but he is in his final four. They are in his final four with Georgia, Notre Dame, and Villanova. So we'll see how that one plays out. I mean, I think if you're picking between the four programs currently, I don't know why you would pick the others over Tennessee at the moment. Rick Barnes is a big fan, from my understanding. Loves the way that he competes and his work ethic. So he enjoyed his time. Felt like Tennessee answered all of his questions, which his biggest question was, hey, can these guys develop me? And he felt like they laid out a great plan for him. So it's going to be a busy couple of weeks for Tennessee basketball on the recruiting front. They're going to have two visitors in this weekend. The first one being Amari Evans, a guard, top 100 player, been a long time Tennessee basketball target, friends with Zakai Ziegler's family. He has a great relationship with Rod Clark and Tennessee staff as a whole. And he's one that I would consider Tennessee the leader for right now, although Xavier and Chris Mack are pressing him here of late. But he's one that an official visit this weekend, which he will be on, could wrap things up with him. And then in the 2026 class, they're going to have in Talon Kinney, who is originally from Kentucky, but he is actually playing with Amari Evans at Overtime Elite there in Atlanta. We at 24/7 have him ranked as the number 26 overall player in the country and the number 5 overall point guard. So he'll be in town for an unofficial visit because he is in the 2026 class. And a new name to watch out for in the current class is Kai Rogers from Milwaukee. He's ranked as the number 115 overall player in the country. He's a center, and it sounds like, from my understanding, he's going to be on his way to Atlanta to play for Overtime Elite as well. And I think Tennessee's going to take a swing here for the center from Milwaukee. So there's some basketball recruiting nuggets for you, but the basketball tidbit I teased that's coming out here shortly is non-recruiting related. So nothing major, but a fun little tidbit that I think fans will enjoy.
All right. Well, we'll have more on Thursday. Get a little update on recruiting with baseball as well, and then we'll get ready for Tennessee opening the season versus UTC. It's going to be a good one.
Now, how about you quickly? You and I did not discuss it. You may have discussed it on Thursday. I don't know if the conference schedule had been released yet. Maybe it had been. It had been released last Tuesday, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And I was sick on Thursday, so I missed the show Thursday morning. I was on the struggle bus.
Bubble guts.
Jonas Adu and John Calipari, Tennessee's first SEC game of the season, January 4th. The SEC. They're a funny bunch.
Oh, they getting booed.
They're a funny bunch.
Yeah, they getting booed. Yeah. They know it's coming. It's gonna be fun. All right, Ben. Don't get sick Thursday, okay? people want to see you. The people want to hear from you. We'll do it again Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Swain Events, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Gentlemen, get over there to Low T Center. Right now, you can get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. Also, their physician monitor self-inject treatment plan makes it really easy and convenient for you as well. If you have a low testosterone, which Low T Center can check, they can check for you and get results back to you as quick as 25 minutes. So if you're feeling some of the symptoms like low energy and lacking motivation and drive, gaining some weight, loss of muscle mass, it's time to get those levels checked, guys. All right, lowtcenter.com. For Ben McKee of Go Vols 247, I'm Jason Swain. Hope y'all have a great day and a blessed day. Peace and love. We are out.